back to the garage. It's been a couple weeks since we have been out here. The weather has taken a nice turn, and spring is definitely upon us. That is a welcome sight. Snow is melting away just beautifully, and it is time to get back onto the waste oil burning water heater version 2.0. So the last time we were working on this, we had applied the refractory cement inside of the combustion chamber. It took a little bit of time for that to actually set up, so it's finally dried out now. It's ready to go. So one of the first steps we're going to do here is just kind of clean out some of the spaces that we don't want that refractory cement to remain, and basically get this fired up so that it is ready to go. As I mentioned, we need to do a little bit of cleanup here, and one of the first places, or some of the places that we need to clean up, are along the door here where it overlaps with this little backing piece of steel. We also need to clean up on the inside of the top half. There is a bit of an overlap again where this flat piece of bar overlaps just to create a joint and actually hold everything together. So we need to get those surfaces cleaned up so that once we fire this, that cement doesn't interfere with any of this. So we'll use maybe the grinding wheel, a grinding disc, maybe a wire wheel to get that cleaned up. And then once everything's cleaned up, we will put a flame in there and get this thing set up. I've got all of the connecting surfaces cleaned up. Everything fits back together nicely. The next step is to get a propane torch inside of this so that we can run it with the door closed. And while we heat this up, this refractory cement is actually going to change from this kind of thin, flat state to, it'll look like more of a cement once it's been heated and fired. So I'm going to get that set up. We'll get going with firing this. To start, I just fired the door using the propane torch, and I found that just controlling the flame and the distance was pretty good. So I'm going to actually fire the whole combustion chamber in two pieces. So that's already done. You can see how it's already changed in like texture and its appearance. So it's very much more cementitious now, I guess you could say. Everything else here hasn't been fired yet. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and use the torch, and we're going to fire the rest of the combustion chamber and get it kind of set up like that, and then we can actually get it together for a test burn. I finished firing these and they turned out pretty good. You can see that the surface texture has changed from kind of that smooth, kind of dark gray. It's now more of this light gray, and it's kind of bumpy. So the refractory cement basically just kind of puffs up as it is fired, and I think that's what kind of creates that layer of insulation. So these bubbles look, that's hot. The bubbles look like they're a solid mass, but they're actually kind of like a Swiss cheese. So there's a lot of little voids in there that I guess capture air or whatever, create a boundary layer, and help insulate the actual like inside from the outside. So I'm not sure if it's going to make a tremendous difference, but it's definitely been an interesting experience playing with this. I don't know if I could add any more or if it's going to adhere the same way, but we'll give it a shot and we'll see how it works out. So now that these are fired, basically I'm going to wait till these cool down so I can handle them again. Once they're cool, I will actually start to assemble the little kind of heat exchanger coil, the little pot that goes in there, and we'll get this all put together. Then we can actually take a look at getting this fired up and see how it's going to work. Well, I have some disappointing news here. And it seems that as this is cooled from the first firing, there are sections here that are kind of letting go from the steel. Other sections, I think the thinner ones may have had a little bit better adhesion. So overall, yeah, I'm not too terribly disappointed, although it would have been nice to see this work out a little bit better. But I'm not going to put too much more time or effort into trying to repair this. I'm just going to run it as it is. So whatever does kind of flake off, well, we'll just live with that. Whatever stays, that'll be a bonus. So yeah, the next step now is to start getting this put together. We're going to try and get some fittings and get this thing fired up. Well, I figured while I was waiting for this to cool, I would put the halves together. And so once I had them together, I thought, well, I might as well get this painted, because the high temperature paint kind of goes on well when the surface is still warm. It dries almost instantly, and yeah, it just makes it a lot easier, so I don't have to worry about heating it up again or whatever. Basically, once you heat up that steel, all the oils and whatnot burn off, and you've got a pretty clean surface that's ready for paint. So yeah, just took advantage of that opportunity. We'll let this cool a bit more, and then we can get back to assembly. All right, well, I got the fittings installed. I made these little like arms that kind of dip down. At this point here, they are quite low, and so to transition to even a plastic pipe there, some PEX or something would be quite acceptable. A lot of the heat's in around this area, so this just kind of gets these pipes a little bit away from there. And so yeah, we have inlet, we have outlet, and yeah, there's not much else to it. Like I'd pointed out before, a lot of this cement is just kind of flaking off, and I mean, like I said, it is really just experimental, so we know that this didn't work. So I mean, no loss. I mean, that was about $20 worth of refractory cement. But anyway, yeah, it's time now to come up with a couple fittings, figure out how to adapt that to some other hoses, and kind of coinciding with what we're doing right now, I ended up draining the hot tub, and we need to fill it up again, and we're going to try and heat it up. So we'll get this set up and going right away. I have everything plumbed in, so what I've done right now, I'm just using the output of the pump circuit, running it through that heat exchanger coil, and it's just coming back into the tub here. So this is how we're going to do our test right now. We will run it, and yeah, hopefully we can get a little bit of heat out of it while we're filling this up. So I got the burner lit. Because we're using the same burner pot style, the same control system, the only difference is that I don't have a thermocouple inside, so I just temporarily wired one up outside here just to provide a dummy figure for the set point. Otherwise the system won't run. So we've got it going, and it's going to get up to temperature shortly here. We have our water circulating nicely, so we'll see how this works out for a little while. Well, I think we can say that it's running quite vigorously right now. I need to find a way to tighten up the seal on that door a little, because we're getting some flame and some smoke escaping from there. But we're gonna just check the temperature on the outlet now with all I have is a handheld thermometer. So we are getting the water out temperature right now is 26, 27. The tank temperature right now is a little cooler. I apologize for the wind, but there's nothing I can really do about that right now. I ended up getting a piece of French fry into the suction line. I'm using just canola oil right now. I was troubleshooting. I tried to relight it. It was smoking a lot, and I didn't realize that the smoke was quite flammable. And so by the lack of hair on my arm, you can tell it kind of singed my arms as I tried to relight it. So yeah, just keep in mind that that smoke is actually vapor, and it is combustible. Alright, so it took a little while to get that thing up to temperature. It was being a bit of a pain in the butt. Anyway, so I have about 20.5 degree water in the tub right now. And with that thing full on running, water output temperature, yeah, about 30. It's gonna probably get up to about 33. It's pretty impressive actually. I mean, considering it's only working its way through about 25 feet of tubing, it's about 3/4 of a degree per foot. So yeah, overall it's working well, no leaks, no issues. Well, we've been running for a little while now. I managed to get the door to fit a little bit better. I think that helped with stopping a bit of the smoke. Quite a bit coming out up top, so I need to do a little bit of fine tuning. I haven't used this in a while, so it takes a little getting used to. Overall, the setup is working well. I do like how it is just that stainless steel coil inside. It's pretty agnostic to the water. It doesn't impart any kind of impurities to it, so basically the water flowing through it is just getting heated. It's not going to get any rust or anything like with the first version that I had going here. And so yeah, like I said, this has worked out quite well. I don't say this is a fair test to really gauge the heat output of this unit. For that, we'll have to do a little bit more of a controlled test. But I think for now, this was more of a proof of concept to make sure that what we have here works without any major issues. So the next time we'll do it with a controlled volume of water, and we'll set a timer and do all those fun things. But for now, we've got the hot tub almost back up to 38 degrees. The combination of the electric heater and the waste oil burner really makes short work of heating that much water. So that's a nice thing. It'll be ready to go right away. Hope you have a great day. Really appreciate you liking and subscribing, and thanks for watching.